Happy day all. I am from the Department of Electronic Media at M.O.P Vaishnav College for Women. In Electronic Media Department, we are discussing about various topics, especially related to production in electronic media fields like radio, television, film, multimedia and the new media. And today we are going to be discussing about the nature and characteristics of radio medium, because radio is one of the major mass mediums that are prevalently being used today. Let's see what are the nature and the characteristics of the radio as a mass medium. Radio is one of the powerful tools of mass communication, and in electronic media, radio and television form a very important part in the electronic media aspects, and radio is one of the earliest forms of mass media also. During the early 1920s, the initial broadcasts of radio were made, even during the Britishers period, and you will find that it was initially used for the purpose of public service broadcasting, and then it stepped down to entertainment sector also. In radio, basically, it is transmitted as radio waves. The signals are transmitted as radio waves, and it's being transmitted from the radio stations or the radio channel stations. From there, it is transmitted through the transmitters in the air, and the radio antennas at the receiving end will decode these signals and bring it back to form in the transistors or the radio sets that we have at home, which we can, through which you can hear the radio signals that are being transmitted from the radio station. And nowadays we have the wireless transmission, because radio waves are just transmitted through the air and you're able to receive it from air itself. So there is no need for cables or wires, it is just wireless transmission. This is one of the most important aspects of radio, because it helps in the wireless transmission of data from one place to another. There are different types of radio. Let's see what are the various types of radio. You have the local radio, you have national radio, you have something called as ham radio or amateur radio, where a group of people come together and just exchange their radio signals between them. And then there's the internet radio, which is very popular nowadays. Most of us can just log into the internet and we can listen to radio over the internet also. And satellite radio is also there in use. We also have analog and digital forms in radio. Earlier it was analog form, now we have the digital forms of radio waves that are being transmitted. And very importantly, radio plays an important role in community development, and community radio is one of those types of radio which helps in the development or upliftment of the community which is in and around the radio station. You have the AM and the FM. AM stands for amplitude modulation and FM stands for frequency modulation. These are the two types of radio signals that are being transmitted. We have moved on to frequency modulations because the sound signals are much clearer and they are able to produce good stereophonic sound when they are being received. And you also have the commercial, non-commercial and the public service broadcasting according to the various needs that the radio station serves. Coming to the functions of radio, there are three major important functions of radio. One is to inform, the other is to educate, and the other is to entertain. Of course, most of us are using it for entertainment purpose, but initially when radio broadcasting started in India, it was initially for the purpose of information, to share information from one place to another, especially information that are related to war or information that are related to natural calamities, etc. Later on, it moved to education field, realizing the potential of radio. They moved to the education sector, where radio was seen as a very effective tool for communication in the rural areas of India, and it was used as a tool for educating the masses and rural people. And now it has moved on to another stage where it is used to entertain the people also. Coming to the nature and the characteristics of the radio as a medium, it is a very simple medium in the foremost place, because it is very, it doesn't have too many gadgets, too many equipments or too many infrastructure that is required. A simple 50 rupees transistor will do. You can just receive radio signals through that, and even you can connect a headphone through your mobile phones and are able to receive the radio signal. So it is a very simple medium indeed, and it is a medium of just the voice and sound. There is no visuals, of course, like television. So it is basically a medium for the ear. It is not a medium for the eye. That is why we call radio as a sightless or a blind medium instead. And it is a very intimate medium, because the person who is talking on radio, it feels like as if he's sitting right next to you and talking to you, and it's in a very conversational style. So it feels much closer to you, and that's why it's called as a personal or an intimate medium. It's a very mobile or a portable medium. You can just carry your radio set or your mobile phone anywhere, and it's just very portable. It is very easy to carry. It is not a big instrument that you have to carry around. It's very inexpensive compared to television and other forms of media, electronic media, which are much more expensive to buy, to produce and to transmit. Radio is a very simple and a cheap and an inexpensive medium. It acts as a link between the speakers and the listeners, as we all know. It is a very illiterate medium, because if it is a newspaper, only those who can read and write can look at that information. Whereas it is radio, anybody can speak over radio, and even a person who cannot read or write will be able to listen to radio and understand the message or the information that is shared through the voice. So it is an illiterate medium, we call it, and it is a selective medium, because it only plays something and you don't have any control of what is being telecast to you. You just get to listen to what you're being telecast to. It is a linear medium because it is moving in a progressive mode. You cannot shift up and forth like a deck or a VCD player. You just have to wait for the transmission to move on to a specific time. So that is why we call it as a linear medium. It is a transient medium because once it is heard, it is forgotten. You can't get back over it. You can't go back to it. Unless nowadays you have the options of recording and playing it again. But generally you don't normally do that. So it is a transient medium. It works in the background. You can just switch on your radio and do any kind of work. You can drive a car. You can't see a TV and drive a car, of course, so you'll have to listen to radio and drive a car. That's possible. So it can work in the background. It acts as a background medium, and you can still carry on with your regular activities. It is a medium of the earth, which we already discussed. It is an eco-friendly medium because radio waves are not that harmful to the environment. So it is an eco-friendly medium. And the cost of production for radio itself is very cheap. However, radio does come with some limitations. It is a medium for the ear, as we all said, it is not a medium for the eye. So you cannot see, you don't have any visuals to support what is being said. Of course, we know that seeing is believing, so whatever we hear, we may not even believe. So in order to make it more reliable and credible, it is presented in such a way that it is made believable. So since there are no visuals, there is nothing to support visually, so everything has to be communicated only through sounds. And it is a one-chance medium. Once you hear it, you can't go back to it. That is one of the disadvantages of radio. It is easily forgotten. We normally don't remember the programs we listen to on radio. And another important challenge is people who are hearing impaired may not be able to get a chance to even listen to radio. So that's it. So I hope you understood the nature and the characteristics of radio as an electronic medium and a mass medium. Thank you.